Hello everyone, Dan here. Man, I really hate making this video, but I do want to make sure that we remember and acknowledge the work of Neil Adams. So if you haven't heard or read it on the internet, and there's a really good article um, from the Hollywood Reporter by Boris Kitt. Neil Adams has passed away. Neil Adams, creator. He worked both Marvel, DC, and he did his own comics. He has passed at the age of 80. So I just want to touch a little bit on the contributions that he made to the industry because I think he's a very important figure. Not only the way he influenced comics, but and the characters that he created, but also the stuff that he did outside for other creators. So, as you may or may not know, Neil Adams is one of the creators that kind of updated and revitalized Batman when DC was having issues, and I think maybe even thought about canceling the series. He created really cool characters like Ra's al Ghul, the Man Bat, Talia al Ghul, one of DC's first black superheroes, and Green Lantern, John Stewart. Um, but I think like I said, Neil, like there's a lot of stuff that wouldn't happen in DC without his contributions and his team ups with Danny O'Neill as on the writing. I mean, they brought us some of the coolest stuff in comics. Like I mentioned, this whole arc of Raja Ghul and head of the demon Talia al Ghul, everything from there. That was all Neil Adams and his work. Uh, it was so impactful that even when I began reading comics back in the 2010s, um, DC had a whole slate of all the titles having Neil Adam variants. I remember this very well, so it was really exciting to go pick up some of that stuff. On the Marvel side, he has a really fun series called The First X-Men, which is kind of a retcon to the original. Like it puts together a different group of X-Men. Very cool stuff. If you can find that series, definitely recommend. Go check it out. I'm gonna go through a little bit more of his comic work and all that, but we'll also show some other stuff. So you will very much recognize a lot of Neil's work. There's this really cool Batman Odyssey series that he did. This one he did on his own pretty much. He was writing and art. Obviously, he had a team behind them, but he was in charge of that one over at DC. Very recognizable covers. Um, but I think outside of that, outside of all the work he did in comics, I think one of the really important things is that Neil Adams always wanted to make sure that comic creators were looked after. And it was a little bit controversial at the time with the big companies. Um, he he would tell his co-creators and people in the industry with him like don't sign these bad contracts, and that made him probably somebody that these companies did not look on favorably because it was kind of like a warning. But one of the biggest I would say accomplishments is that he helped Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, co-creators of Superman, um, really bring them to the light and eventually led to their recognition by DC and other media that includes like pension and everything and help them financially. So Neil was always very involved with that. Um, he was all over the place, and like I said, he did so many things. He just really loved the comic industry. Let me show you some of his more recognizable covers. Like I said, you probably know and have, if you've been collecting comics for any amount of time, you've probably seen walk by, cons, create like stuff like that at your shop. Some really cool stuff. And then, like I mentioned, just he revitalized the Joker and really made him into this. Well, him and Danny O'Neill, who also has passed away, they just had an excellent run on Batman. The Green Arrow, Green Lantern book that really took these two beloved characters and put them together in a combination that not a lot of people figured they would work. And then, like I mentioned, his work with Batman and Ra's al Ghul, like with Danny O'Neill, it was fantastic. So yeah, it is very sad and just it really sucks that Neil was a full character. I was lucky enough to see him a few times at conventions. Matter of fact, I found some old pictures that I wanted to share. So in 2013 at Dallas Fan Days, here we have a panel for comic book legends with Neal Adams and Herb Tempe, co-creator of Wolverine and the Hulk. So this was really cool, and Fan Days used his one of his Joker covers to promote the event. I still have this lanyard laying around somewhere. So yeah, Neal was a class act. So very saddened by his loss, and he will be missed in the industry. But he has left a really, really big impression on there. So I recommend you go check out the Hollywood Reporter article. I think it's very detailed. It's very well done. I just wanted to make, like I said, I didn't want to. I hate making videos like this, but I feel like it's important that we remember him. So yeah, I'm just very saddened by his loss, and he will be very much remembered because he just had a great impact on the industry. So our thoughts go to his family and all his loved ones, his the people that he worked with and the people that he's helped. So his impact was immeasurable. And like I mentioned, he was just a character. Anytime you saw him at a convention, he had really cool booth setup and all that. So yeah, if you're out there today, go read some comics by Neal Adams and remember him. So thanks for watching, everyone.
Now, in terms of issues, artist rights, that kind of thing, you're one of the people that has always.
Were there others?
Perhaps you were the first.
Who were they? I was the one who went to a fellow who was cutting up the pages, and at DC Comics,
right,
and expressed the point of view that perhaps he should not do that, and that I'm going to go and talk to Carmine and the publisher, and in between the time that I do that and the next time I see him, I would advise him not to cut up any more pages. So that was the last day that DC Comics destroyed artwork.
Okay.
It took 7 years to get the artwork returned to the artists,
okay,
but that was the last day it was destroyed.